By Sri Lanka's best internet package for online learning and online working with many amazing offers. Call 1212 for more information. Sri Lanka Telecom.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, cut it out. Foul play ruled out in island-wide power outage as 1 hour cuts for the next 4 days announced. Lack of responsibility. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter Sunday terror attacks gathers more evidence of official lethargy in run-up to the attacks. Out of the frying pan. Attorney General's department announces probe into former Negombo prison superintendent Sampaio, this time around for drug trafficking. Making hay. Police Narcotics Bureau drug parties and heroin transportation exposed during court hearing. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Tuesday, the 18th of August, 2020.
From AdaDerana. This is AdaDerana First at 9.
Nava Sunlight Sakura. Then Dikukal Pavatina Sakura Mal Suandin.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Mohammed Kekanaka. Now, the Ceylon Electricity Board trade unions rule out any foul play with regards to yesterday's sudden power failure experienced across the country. A 9-member committee is appointed to investigate the matter as per directives of the subject minister, Dala Salahaperuma. What's more, the Public Utilities Commission too has called for a report on the power outage, saying that necessary action will be taken after taking the contents of the report into consideration. Now, the incident has put considerable strain on the country's power grid, and the Ceylon Electricity Board has decided to implement a daily 1-hour power cut island-wide for 4 days starting today. The daily electricity need of Sri Lanka during the day is nearly 2,200 megawatts. However, it increases up to 2,400 megawatts during the evening owing to high demand. With that being the case, a sudden power failure occurred island-wide yesterday at around 12:30 p.m. due to a technical fault which had occurred in the transmission line of the Kerawalapitiya main substation located 200 metres away from the Kerawalapitiya power plant. That led to a loss of 135 megawatts provided by the Udaganavi power station in Kerawalapitiya to the national grid. What's more, the effects of it also made the Norocchale coal power plant inoperable, causing another loss of 810 megawatts to the national power grid. Electrical engineers, however, were able to restore the power supply island-wide by 10 p.m. under several phases.
We have set up a committee to investigate what are the real reasons, because what we know is this started as a failure at Kerawalapitiya grid substation. But we need to know what is the exact reason and why one substation failure affected all systems. So there are 2 committees, one set up by the minister, and we have requested one internal report from CB side, and based on that report, we'll take necessary actions. Mainly, we have to expedite the transmission line projects as well as grid substations to strengthen the system.
In the meantime, the Sri Lanka Nidahas Sevaka Sangame of the Ceylon Electricity Board ruled out any foul play pertaining to yesterday's island-wide power outage.
දෛනික අවශ්‍යතාවය නිතර නිතර අඩු වැඩි වෙනකොට අවශ්‍ය ප්‍රමාණයට පද්ධති පාලන ඉංජිනේරු මහතුන්ට අතින් මේ වැඩේ සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. නමුත් හදිසියෙ මෙගාවට් 300ක විතර කෙරවලපිටිය බලාගාරයේ බිඳ වැටීමක් සිද්ධ වුණාන් පස්සේ පද්ධතිය අපේ අති ගිලිහියමක් සිද්ධ වුණා. එම නිසා සියලුම බලාගාර නොරොත්තෝලෙත් එක්ක සියලුම බලාගාර ඩ්‍රොප් වීමක් වුණා. ඒක නිසා වගකීමෙන් කියනවා රාජ්‍ය අපහසුතාවයට පත් කරන්නවත් එහෙම නැත්නම් වෙනත් පාර්ශ්වයක් අපහසුතාවයට පත් කරන්නවත් සිද්ධ වෙච්ච දෙයක් නෙවෙයි.
Following the sudden power failure, a 9-member committee headed by Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Power, Hemantha Samarakon, was appointed to investigate the technical failure that occurred at the main substation of the Kerawalapitiya power plant as per the directives of Subject Minister Dala Salahaperuma. The minister had called for a report within a week. In another development, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has also called for a report containing the initial investigations on the cause of the power failure and details of the restoration on or before this Thursday.
UCSL will be taking action after studying the report so that this kind of power interruption can be prevented in future. In terms of conditions of the transition license and also in terms of the provisions of the Sri Lanka Electricity Act, the steps would be to ensure to prevent such kind of power interruption in future, and recommendations would to really ensure the required standards for the transmission systems and the other infrastructure.
In the meantime, the Ceylon Electricity Board announced that an island-wide power cut for an hour will be in effect on a daily basis for 4 days. Chairman of the CEB, Vijitha Herath, said that the scheduled power cuts will be in effect from today. Accordingly, the country will be divided into 4 zones and the power will be cut off in sessions. As such, each zone will experience a power cut of an hour between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Power cuts are possible from 6 to 7 p.m., 7 to 8 p.m., 8 to 9 p.m. and 9 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Enjoy a very smooth shave with the Bic Easy 2 razor. Bic Easy 2.
Now, former State Intelligence Chief Nilantha Jayawardena testified for the 12th and 13th days at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter Sunday terror attacks yesterday as well as today. The former Intel chief revealed that despite early warnings received of any imminent attack by Zahran Hashim and his followers, official lethargy in locating and neutralizing that threat continued, with no one taking the lead. Through questioning, it was revealed that the State Intelligence Service was still looking to confirm the veracity of the foreign intel warnings when the attacks took place. This is despite information being available on the level of the threat posed by Zahran in terms of his activities in operating camps that provided weapons and explosives training months before the attacks.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the Easter Sunday terror attacks recorded evidence from former Head of State Intelligence Nilantha Jayawardena for the 12th day yesterday. During the testimony, Jayawardena contradicted claims by IGP Pujit Jayasundara, who earlier stated that he was only informed of the attack threat on the 9th of April 2019. Jayawardena told the Commission that he had instead telephoned IGP Jayasundara on the 7th of April and informed him of a warning received via WhatsApp at 10:40 am on the 4th of April from a foreign intelligence source. He added that the following day, the 5th of April, he had received the same warning through official means. Bringing to the witnesses' attention 5 phone calls held between him and then Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando on the 6th of April, the Additional Solicitor General of the Commission asked him whether the warning was passed on during that time. In response, Jayawardena stated that he did not inform the Defence Secretary on April 6th, as he was awaiting further verification of the information received on April 4th. He added that he informed then IGP Pujit Jayasundara about this intelligence on April 7, 2019 at 8:55 am via telephone and proceeded to forward the written warning with no changes made and marked top secret to the National Intelligence Chief on the same day. The Additional Solicitor General then asked the witness what action had been taken by the State Intelligence Service on the possible targeting of prominent churches. In response, the witness stated that due to the importance of a church, depending on its participants, discussions only centered around the overall information received and not locations of important churches. The Commission then drew the witness's attention to an intelligence report submitted by an Assistant Director of the SIS on 5th April 2019 that clearly marks St. Anthony's Church in Kochigade, the Indian High Commission in Galle, as well as other churches in Bamlapitia and Kolpiti as possible targets. With that, the witness was then asked whether the carrying out of a bombing by terrorists while the state intelligence services were still scrambling to verify attack warnings were a damning indictment on the service's capabilities. In response, Jayawardena stated that he had warned all responsible parties 2 weeks before the attack, as well as the day before the attack, and had also provided information that there would be 2 more attacks after the 6 initial ones, as well as information on the bomb van parked near the Kochikade church. Therefore, he added that despite certain shortcomings based on these actions, it was unfair to state that the role of the State Intelligence Service was weak, as it had provided all necessary information as required by it at the time. Meanwhile, the former SIS Chief Nilantha Jayawardena's testimony continued today as well. At the outset, the witness told the Commission that at the time the foreign intelligence warning was received on 4th April 2019, the SIS had received no information that Zahran Hashim had been gathering arms in preparation for an attack. However, following this statement, the Additional Solicitor General submitted 2 reports submitted by the witness to the Security Council on 4th April, which red flagged the fact that Zahran Hashim had been operating a camp in Noor area where weapons and explosives training was being carried out in contradiction of his claim. The witness was then asked what steps were taken by the SIS to counter Zaran Hashim's incitement of individuals through his social media accounts after receiving the foreign intel warnings on 4th April. The witness replied that no action was taken in this regard. The Additional Solicitor General then drew the attention of the Presidential Commission to the fact that although the State Intelligence Service failed to take such action, the Police Terrorism Investigation Division had worked to disable Zaran Hashim's Facebook account before the Easter attacks. The witness told the Commission that in response to his providing the information, then Chief of National Intelligence Cicero Mendes sent him a report on 8th April containing all relevant personal information on Zaran Hashim. He added that the report revealed that Zaran had escaped to Kashmir, India via boat after hiding out in Kurunegala, Mavdagama and Mana. The report also highlighted that Zaran's escape was aided by Rifkan Batiuddin, a former Eastern Provincial Councillor and brother of former Minister Rishad Batiuddin. He added that the report also claimed that Zaran had returned to Sri Lanka from Kashmir and was hiding in Slave Island at the time. The witness was then asked by the Commission whether the foreign intel warnings had already been received when the SIS was informed by the National Intelligence Chief on Zaran's escape and who aided him. The witness responded in the affirmative and revealed that he had then called the National Intel Chief and told him that the issue was a big problem. He added that National Intelligence Chief Cicero Mendes then responded, promising to take the issue up with the Defence Secretary. The witness was then asked why he failed to take action despite there being a clear corroboration between the foreign intel warnings and the information provided by the National Intelligence Service. In response, the witness rejected the assumption that he failed to take action and stated that all necessary action had been taken in this regard. The Commission then asked Jayawardena whether there was mention of the information provided by the National Intel Chief Cicero Mendes at a prior occasion, to which he responded that former Army Commander Mahesh Senanayaka had mentioned Zaran's India escape and Rifkan Batiuddin's involvement on 9th March 2019 at an intelligence review meeting. Meanwhile, former State Minister of Defence at the time of the Easter attack, Ruban Wijewardena, was at the Police Investigation Unit of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry at 9:30 am this morning to record a statement. His statement lasted for almost 5 hours.
මම හිතනවා ඉදිරියේදී කොමිසම ඉස්සර ඉදිරිපිටත් මම හිතන්නේ ගිහිල්ලා අපිට කතා කරන්න වෙනවා මේ ඉදිරි දිනේදී. ඉතින් මම ගොඩක් ඇත්තටම සතුටු වෙනා එක පැත්තකින් මොකද රටේ ජනතාව ඇත්තම මේකේ ඇත්ත දැනගන්නටත් අවශ්‍යයි. හංගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඉතින් මම හිතනවා කොමිසමෙන් කරන පරීක්ෂණ වලින් මේ රටේ ජනතාවට පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය පිළිබඳව ඇත්ත දැනගන්නට පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා. රාජ්‍ය ආරක්ෂක රාජ්‍ය අමාත්‍යවරයා හැටියට මම වැඩ කටයුතු කෙරුවාට මගේ විෂය සෙට් කරලා තිබ්බේ ආරක්ෂක විද්‍යාලයත් රණවිරු සේවාධිකාරියත් ඒ වගේම ජාතික ශිෂ්‍ය බට බලකායයි බටලන්දේ මාණ්ඩලික සහ සේවා විද්‍යාලය. ඔය විෂයන් හතර තමයි මට බාර දීලා තිබ්බේ. කොහොමදත් මේ පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරය පිළිබඳව ඊට කලින් කිසිම තොරතුරක් අපිට ලැබුණේ නැහැ.
ඔබතුමන්ට ආරක්ෂක කවුන්සිලයට කැඳවීම තිබ්බද?
දින 52 තිබ්බේ අර ව්‍යවස්ථා ප්‍රශ්න උඩ ඊට කලින් අපි ආරක්ෂක කවුන්සිලයට ආරාධනා තිබ්බා. නමුත් එයින් පස්සේ දින 52කින් අපි ආපහු රජයක් පවත්වලා ආවම් පස්සේ අපිට කිසිම රැස්වීමකට අපි ආරාධනා කරුවේ නැහැ. මට අගමැතිතුමාටත් ආරාධනාවක් තිබ්බේ නැහැ.
කිහිප අවස්ථාවකම අප්‍රේල් 21 නෙවෙයි ඊට කලින් මේ සම්බන්ධව දැනුවත් කරලා තියෙනවා කිව්වා බුද්ධ්‍යංශ විසින්.
බුද්ධ්‍යංශ වලින් අපිට ඉස්සෙල්ලා දැනුවත් කෙරුවේ සහරාන් කියන පුද්ගලයා අන්තවාදී අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා මේ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය තුල කියලා. සහරාන් කියන පුද්ගලයා ත්‍රස්තවාදී වැඩ කටයුතු වල යෙදෙනවා කියන කිසිම තොරතුරක් ඉදිරිපත් කෙරුවේ නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී අපි බුද්ධ්‍යංශ වලිනුත් එවයින් පොලිසියෙන් අහනකොට කිව්වේ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය හරහා කරන ප්‍රකාශ වලට ඒගොල්ලන්ට කිසිම පියවරක් ගන්න බෑ. මොකද ඒක වැරද්දක් කළා නැහැ. නමුත් ඒ පුද්ගලයා පිළිබඳව විමර්ශන කරන බව තමයි ඒ අවස්ථාවේදී සඳහන් කෙරුවේ.
ඔබතුමන්ගේ මතය මොකද්ද මේ ප්‍රහාරයට හේතුව?
ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් ආණ්ඩුවත් අතර තිබ්බේ ඉරස්කභාවය නිසා තමයි මෙවැනි තත්ත්වයක් උදා වුනේ. ඒක ඇත්තම ගොඩක් කනගාටු වෙනවා ඒ ගැන.
කියන්නේ පහුගිය රජය සම්පූර්ණ වගකීම් බාර ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා ප්‍රහසම්ම.
අපි රජයක් හැටියට වගකීම බාර ගත්තනේ. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේත් ඒ වගකීම අපි බාරගත්තා. නමුත් මේක බුද්ධ්‍යංශයත් ඒ වගේම පොලිසියත් අතර ඒ වගේ හරියටම තොරතුරු හුවමාරු වෙලා තිබ්බනම් මම හිතනවා මේක මේ ප්‍රහාරය අපිට වළක්වන්න තිබ්බා.
We will see you shortly after this break. Stay with us.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the court today heard that officers of the Police Narcotics Bureau who aided drug racketeers had transported 130 kilograms of heroin when the country was under lockdown and had been remunerated with 13 million rupees for their troubles. The court also heard from the Attorney General's Department that drug parties were held within the Police Narcotics Bureau itself. 13 officers of the PNB were further remanded until the 31st of August when the case was taken up today. The case pertaining to some officers of the Police Narcotics Bureau being in cahoots with drug racketeers using the very narcotics the Bureau seized was taken up at the Colombo Magistrates Court today. But the suspects in the case were not produced before court owing to the prevailing COVID-19 situation. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris, however, gave the court a progress update of the investigations conducted by the Criminal Investigation Department pertaining to the case. He told the court that the investigations are both serious and complex, and they were launched upon the statements made by Chaminda Priyanka, alias Tile Chaminda, who was arrested recently from the area of Minuangoda. He added that according to a suspect currently under detention named Vihanga Prabhat, the officers of the Police Narcotics Bureau who are currently under arrest had transported 130 kilograms of heroin from Matara in April when the country was under lockdown. They had handed over 90 kilograms of the 130 kilogram heroin consignment to Tile Chaminda. The Deputy Solicitor General went on to say that the said heroin consignment had been transported with the use of a private vehicle, with PNB officers giving it protection from a state vehicle. They had taken the heroin consignment along the Southern Expressway from Matara to Hikkadua and had divided 25 kilograms of it into 12, 10 and 3 kilograms before handing the packages over to 3 persons. The Deputy Solicitor General noted that a fee of 13 million rupees had been paid by a drug racketeer to the PNB officers involved for transporting the drugs. Some of the heroin had also been handed over to another individual in the area of Kimbulavala near the Parliament. The court was told that the relevant drug racket had been operated by underworld figure and racketeer Udara Sampath from Dubai under the guidance of an individual known as Podilesi. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris made evident that PNB officers had aided this operation. He went on to say that a sum of 32,893,000 rupees seized from the possession of the arrested PNB officers is deposited in a special account under court orders, and that the suspects had operated this organised racket under the protection of the law. He also noted that some of the suspects had hosted drug parties within the Police Narcotics Bureau and that some had even used the drug known as ice. Furthermore, the Deputy Solicitor General said that a separate investigation has been launched against 9 of the arrested PNB officers under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. Meanwhile, legal counsel who represents some of the suspects, Ajit Patirana, told the court that much of the facts submitted by the Deputy Solicitor General is beneficial for the media, but they are of no relevance to the court. In the latest developments in the saga involving former Negombo Prison Superintendent Anuruddha Sampaio, the Attorney General's department informed court that it has launched another probe into him, this time for drug trafficking. This was stated when the case against the suspect for providing luxuries to prison inmates was taken up today. The AG's department added that new evidence has come to light which implicates Sampaio in drug trafficking.
The Criminal Investigation Department today submitted a further report to the Negombo Magistrates Court pertaining to the investigations into the 4 suspects, including former Superintendent of the Negombo Prison Anuruddha Sampaio, remanded on charges of misconduct and racketeering with inmates at the Negombo Prison. Appearing on behalf of the plaintiff, Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris informed court that the CID had commenced an investigation into the delays in execution of the warrant against first suspect Anuruddha Sampaio. The Deputy Solicitor General pointed out that although the Chief Inspector of Negombo headquarters had noted that Sampaio was arrested following a successful intelligence operation on the 2nd of August, investigations revealed that it wasn't the case. He further pointed out that upon perusal of CCTV footage taken from a device installed in the vicinity of the arrest made, it was revealed that Sampaio had got out from a jeep and had walked towards the vehicle of the Chief Inspector of Negombo Police Headquarters. The Deputy Solicitor General also revealed that the CIP of the Negombo Police Headquarters is a schoolmate of Sampaio, adding that the brother of Sampaio and another friend named Abhay Singha were present when Sampaio surrendered to the police. Accordingly, the Deputy Solicitor General pointed out that it was not an arrest, but a gesture of welcoming the suspect. Deputy Solicitor General Dilip Piris said that a group including the brother of Sampaio have had constant telephone conversations with Sampaio when he was in hiding to avoid arrest, adding what he termed a deal had been involved in delaying Sampaio's arrest. The Attorney General's department also revealed that according to a statement given to the CID by the brother of Sampaio, he had telephoned the acting IGP, who during the call told him, quote, "This is a personal matter for me too. Charges against your brother are not very big. Go surrender," unquote. Meanwhile, the Deputy Solicitor General also informed court that statements obtained from a previous inmate who had been arrested once more on the 4th of this month on murder charges have revealed a number of irregularities that have taken place inside the Negombo prison. Quoting the inmate, the Deputy Solicitor General said that a sum of 25,000 rupees had been charged to provide sleeping facilities at ward number 10 of the Negombo prison and that 150,000 rupees was the cost to sleep in ward number 4. Quoting the inmate, the Deputy Solicitor General said when the inmates are provided with the facility to make phone calls, the inmates in turn have to reload credit to the tune of either 1,000 or 2,000 rupees. Meanwhile, the Deputy Solicitor General pointed out that the discovery of heroin and cannabis during a raid conducted at the Negombo prison on the 13th of May and the discovery of an electronic scale in Ward L, which was under the direct supervision of former Superintendent Sampaio, prompted the launch of an investigation into Sampaio's involvement in drug racketeering. The Deputy Solicitor General informed court that the Attorney General's department strongly opposes granting bail to the suspects, as it is not appropriate to grant them bail at an early stage of such an investigation. After considering submissions by both parties, Negombo Magistrate Rajendra Jayasuriya said that the suspects will not be granted bail given that the investigations are at an early stage. She then ordered that the 4 suspects, including Anuruddha Sampaio, be remanded until the 31st of August.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed the authorities to speed up the implementation of the park and drive system, which in turn will reduce traffic. The head of state has also called for a public transportation system which allows commuters to maintain a healthy state of mind.
President held discussions with representatives of the Ministry of Transport and the State Ministry of Vehicle Regulation, bus transport services, railway carriages and motor industries, predominantly on their future plans for the country. Addressing the gathering, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa told the relevant authorities to allow passengers to travel on public transport with a healthy state of mind. The President also instructed that buses be washed, cleaned and made available to passengers starting from tomorrow. The head of state also pointed out to the officials the need to expedite the implementation of the park and drive system, facilitating people to park their vehicles and get to work by bus to minimize traffic congestion. During the discussion, President Gotabaya instructed the authorities to start the combined train and bus service and bus schedule without further delay. According to the Presidential Media Unit, steps to make the Department of Motor Traffic an institution free of corruption and irregularity were also discussed at length.
Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, Sivanesathurey Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan has been permitted to attend the inaugural session of the 9th Parliament on Thursday. Batticaloa High Court today granted permission to the former LTTE operative and Chief Minister of the Eastern Province, who is under remand custody since 2015, to attend the first parliamentary session under the new government. Contesting at the general election, Pillayan obtained the highest number of votes from the district of Batticaloa. However, Pillayan was arrested on the 11th of October in 2015 when he arrived at the CID to give a statement in connection with the assassination of late Tamil politician Joseph Parrajasingham, who was shot dead on Christmas Eve in 2005. Former LTT terror group member Pillayan has been under remand custody since then without being granted bail. Now, in other stories, the tussle for the single national list seat between members of Our Power of People party continues, with former General Secretary Venerable Negombo Vimalathissatthera still remaining in hiding. Now, meanwhile, today, General Secretary of the Sinhala organisation, Venerable Arambepula Ratanasarathera, lodged a complaint with the Mirihana police alleging abduction and assault by Venerable Galagudatte Gnanasarathera and party chairman Saman Pereira. In response, Pereira rubbished the allegations, saying that the Election Commission will decide on which nomination to accept tomorrow.
As the Our Power of People Party National List nomination issue continues to gather pace, the party's former General Secretary, Venerable Negombo Tisatera, still remains in hiding due to threats to his life, following his nomination of his own name to the Election Commission as the party's National List candidate. Meanwhile, Venerable Athurali Ratanathera, who contested under the Our Power of People Party banner at the general elections, expressed these views at a media briefing held today.
මේ අතුරුදහන් වීමේ කතාව සම්පූර්ණ අසත්‍ය කතාවක් පැහැර ගැනීම කතාව සම්පූර්ණ අසත්‍ය කතාවක් ඉදිරි කාලය තුල විශේෂයෙන් මට කළ හැකි දේ තමයි ගිවිසුමක් මා අත්සන් කරලා තිනවා ඒ ගිවිසුම් ප්‍රකාරව ලේකම්වරයා හෝ අනුප්‍රාප්තික ලේකම්වරයා බැඳී ඉන්නවා මා දෙන නිර්දේශය මත මන්ත්‍රීවරයා පත් කරන්නේ.
Meanwhile, a complaint has been lodged at the Mirihana police station by Venerable Arambepola Ratanasarathera, alleging that he had been assaulted by a group in connection to the National List seat issue.
ජාතික ලැයිස්තු මන්ත්‍රී ධූරයෙන් මම තමයි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට යන්නේ කියන චෝදනාව මත පූජ්‍ය ගලබඩාත්තේ ඥානසාර හාමුදුරුවොත් වැලිසරගේ සමන් පෙරේර එහෙම නැත්නම් ජනබල පක්ෂයේ සභාපතිතුමන් අතුරුගිරිය පෝරේ කියන ප්‍රදේශයේදී මම කොළඹට එන අතරතුරදී මාව පැහැර අරගෙන පිස්තෝලයකින් මට පහර දුන්නා. මෙහුන් දාන තරමේ තුවාල දෙකක් මේ ඔකට පේන්නේ නැති තියෙනවා. එහෙම තියාගෙන පහුගිය 9 වෙනිදා ඉඳලා අද පාන්දර 2 දක්වා ඔවුන්ගේ බාරයේ තමයි හිටියේ. මේ වැලිසරගේ සමන් පෙරේර මහත්තයා ගහ පිස්තෝල පාර තමයි මේ මට තර්ජනය කරා.
Following this, representatives of the Our Power of People party were called for a discussion at the Election Commission today.
විමලතිස්ස හාමුදුරුවෝ නම් කරපු කෙනාද එහෙම නැත්නම් වර්තමානයේ ලේකම්වරයා නම් කරපු කෙනාද කියලා තවම කොමිෂන් සභාව තීරණයකට ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ. හෙට කොමිෂන් සභාව ඩිසිෂන් එකක් ගනී බොහෝ දුරට. ඥානසාර ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු යවන්න තමයි යෝජනා කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් දැන් රතන ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේටත් යන්න අවශ්‍යයි කියලා උන්වහන්සේ ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. උන්වහන්සේ දැන් ඔය මේ ජවනිකාවේ එක්තරා කොටසක් හැටියට තමයි අපි සලකන්නේ. අපි වෙච්චර ගණන් ගන්නේ නැහැ.
Now, stocks closed 0.60% higher for the second week, and the all-share price index gained 31.36 points to 5,282.97. Further, the S&P SL 20 index of most liquid stocks gained 0.61% or 14.13 points to 2,331.12. Market turnover reached 1.7 billion rupees, while 71 stocks gained and 84 fell. Now, here's a brief report on today's market performance.
Bros closed at a 5-month high, reverting back to the positive sentiment, with the banking, capital good and diversified finance counter contributing more than 70% of the turnover over the week. The market experienced a volatile sideways movement within the early hours of trading, and thereafter recording uptrend due to the buying interest in selected banking diversified counters such as John Case. And later on, the market recorded a sideways volatile movement and closed at 5,280, advancing 28 points. And market recorded a low foreign participation while they're recording a net foreign outflow.
The Sri Lankan rupee, meanwhile, closed stronger at 183 rupees and 30 cents against the US dollar in the spot market today. The rupee closed at 182 rupees and 81 cents to the greenback yesterday. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.